support Bill C-395, the Opportunity for Workers with Disabilities Act, put forward by my colleague, the member for Carleton. I want to thank him for his steadfast and exceptional advocacy for accountability to taxpayers and for economic freedom, security, and opportunity for all Canadians, especially the vulnerable and disadvantaged. His bill can benefit many Canadians who have different barriers than others in their day-to-day lives. This bill will mandate Finance Canada to calculate how much people with disabilities currently lose in taxes and clawbacks as a result of each additional income of $1,000 they earn, up to $30,000 on a province-by-province basis. If there are cases where clawbacks are higher than the employment income, the Finance Minister can review possible changes to the federal tax and benefit system so that people with disabilities aren't worse off or get paid simply less because they are working. The Finance Minister would then consult with each province to fix the problem, and of course, the federal government puts conditions on provincial programs and services all the time. I support Bill C-395 because every Canadian has value, and every Canadian with disabilities who want to work and are able to do so should be able to maximize their opportunities without penalties or barriers from government. Meaningful work is important for well-being, a sense of dignity, for a fulfilling life, and it should be a public policy priority to support people with disabilities who want and are able to work. Unfortunately, Canadians with disabilities often struggle to secure employment, or when they do, government policies stop them from being able to fully benefit from their efforts and endeavours. According to a 2012 Statistics Canada report on persons with disabilities and employment, the last report done on this subject, the employment rate of Canadians aged 25 to 64 who have a physical or mental disability was 49%, compared to a 79% rate of those without a disability. In my home province of Alberta, people with disabilities who do work often lose $1.15 for every new dollar they earn under the current system. The Assured Income for the Severely Handicapped, or AISH, is Alberta's program supported by the Canada Social Transfer. This separate supplement income program acknowledges the unique financial costs and significant barriers that only this exceptional group of people face. Currently, an Albertan living with a disability can receive a standard living allowance of almost $1,600 monthly through AISH. Like many provincial income programs for the disabled, the financial benefit decreases as earned income increases. Of course, an individual living with a disability who is able to work full-time may not receive the same level of support as someone who cannot work at all or who struggles to be accommodated by prospective employers. Right now in Alberta, persons with disabilities in the AISH program can only earn a certain amount before their payments are reduced. Under the employment income exemption calculation, a single person on the AISH program can only earn up to a maximum of $800 before their payments are clawed back monthly. Once a person earns just over $2,700 monthly, they no longer receive an AISH benefit at all. That's a salary of $32,000 a year with no additional benefits. But the reality is that people with disabilities often have an additional set of and scope of costs and requirements for survival, never mind to thrive, in their daily lives and for their whole lives that people without disabilities can't imagine. Canadians with the same income who aren't disabled already struggle to make ends meet. People with disabilities who can and want to be included in the workforce shouldn't lose benefits that are specifically designed to support their disabilities. A notable exception about Alberta's program, through recent improvements by both the former PC government and the current NDP one, is that it's actually significantly more generous when compared to other provinces. Ontario, for example, has the Ontario Disability Support Program, where a single person with a disability can earn a maximum financial benefit of only just over $1,100 monthly. The benefit is based on family status, providing more if a disabled person has dependents. British Columbia has the Person with Disability Program under BC Employment and Assistance, which is also based on family status. A single person can receive only just over $1,100 a month. This scenario means there is virtually no financial incentive for disabled people to work. The more they work, the less money or benefits they receive, even if they are at a low-paying job. If there's no benefit for a disabled person to work because they may get paid more if they don't, then what incentive is there for a person to go to work? And why should they be punished for wanting to contribute to society and for doing something that is meaningful and fulfilling? The current system, therefore, presents a unique problem. In the dignity deficit, Arthur Brooks says, quote, "We feel a sense of dignity when our own lives produce value for ourselves and for others. Put simply, to feel dignified, one must be needed by others." Involuntary unemployment can be extremely damaging to a person who wants to work. Studies conclude that compared with people who are employed, unemployed people can experience mental health issues, which is not just highly correlated, but tied directly to their lack of work. Many struggle with depression, have lesser physical well-being generally. Unemployed people are more likely to cope by drinking, smoking, and using drugs. It's often assumed these physical and mental challenges are the causation of unemployment, but there's a growing body of evidence that suggests the relationship is also the other way around, and that for people with disabilities, those who can and are able to work are healthier mentally and emotionally, benefiting from a sense of self-worth from gainful employment than people with disabilities who can work but do not. Brooks says, quote, "Involuntary unemployment saps one's sense of dignity." So receiving employment insurance or disability benefits doesn't actually help disabled people who want to work. It's backwards and perverse for a government system to de-incentivize it or to claw back fundamental supports for those who do. I'm passionate about this issue in part because of my personal experience with people with disabilities. In university, I volunteered with the Little Bits Therapeutic Riding Club at the White Mud Equine Center in Edmonton, and got to know adults and children with cognitive, developmental, mental, and physical challenges from birth, from tragic accidents, from diseases and illnesses, and they and their families and guardians made a major impact on me. Many of them would not be able to work and depended completely on a network of family, friends, and public and private support systems and programs. But there were those who could and did, who made all kinds of contributions through work and through volunteerism. They shouldn't be penalized for meaningful employment or profitable entrepreneurialism and for their efforts to advance and to support themselves. All of them, those who could work and those who couldn't, also contributed to my life, to my perspective, and to my well-being in ways I'm sure they never knew. In Lakeland, the Vegreville Association for Living in Dignity is a not-for-profit association that helps support people with developmental disabilities to have opportunities for success and personal growth by promoting the development of communication, cognitive, and motor skills through participation in work and in many initiatives and events in the community. VALID has long-standing partnerships with businesses for employment positions and with charities for volunteer activities in Vegreville. For more than 20 years, VALID's program with the Immigration Case Processing Center secured work placements for 3 to 5 and sometimes more disabled people every year. These opportunities will be taken away from workers with disabilities in CPC Vegreville because despite an outpouring and Herculean effort to stop it by employees and their families, union reps, and elected representatives at all levels of all parties in Alberta and right across the country, the Liberals are closing the office in September 2018. That closure will eliminate hundreds of much-needed jobs in Vegreville with wide-ranging and significant economic and social consequences for the town and region. The Liberal closure will end decades of consistent and predictable employment opportunities for adults living with disabilities in and around the town, and all fundraising by the employee champions for local charities and not-for-profit associations that help the disadvantaged, needy, and the vulnerable through their contributions to workplace charitable campaigns. The Immigration Department said the new office in Vegreville will accommodate 312 employees, only a maximum addition of 32 positions. Vegreville could have expanded for them and for more jobs or placements for people with disabilities. It's a huge loss that was imposed with no consultation, no economic impact assessment, and the cost study the Liberals hid for a year showed it will cost millions more, while nothing ever actually prevented them from opening an office in Edmonton. They've never proven the case why the Vegreville office has to be closed, not to the whole team of employees who consistently outperform targets and backstop other offices, not to the 76% of employees there who are women, nor to the people with disabilities who will no longer have opportunities for worthwhile and meaningful work there. Canadians with disabilities should be able to exercise their talents, their abilities, and their ambition to pursue and attain employment and entrepreneurial opportunities when they can and want to. Government shouldn't penalize them for doing so. The aim of Canadian public policy should be to enable and empower people with disabilities to enjoy meaningful work without barriers and to thrive, not take away incentive from their drive to work and to pursue their goals. That's why I support this bill, and all members should support it. It's a focused, specific, and necessary initiative to actually deliver in policy on all the words and intentions elected representatives often share about compassion and about supporting diversity, abilities, and inclusions. Conservatives mean those words, we're acting on those words, and I'm sure the Liberals will support it. Thank you.
Reprise du débat, resuming debate. The honourable member for Central Okanagan, Similkameen Nicola.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And indeed, it is an honour to join in on the debate for the Opportunities for Workers with Disabilities Act. And I would like to take a moment to share with this place